In this episode of the Military Mindset for Business podcast, I'm going over to Mexico to talk to US Navy spook veteran Chris Seminatore. Now, Chris has got an amazing business called Geofencing, and some of the stuff that he was doing in the Navy 30 years ago, from an intelligence perspective, he's now doing this in business, being able to identify, locate, and put specific targeted ads in front of your customers. So basically, if your customer goes into a competitor shop, we can find that out and we can send them ads about your business. How does that happen? Stay tuned and have a listen. Chris Seminatore on the Military Mindset for Business pod. On this episode of the Military Mindset for Business podcast, I'm chatting with Chris Seminatore, who is one of our US brethren, but currently located in Mexico. G'day, Chris. How you going?
I'm doing well, Pete. How are you, sir?
Mate, I'm fantastic. You don't have to call me sir. Pete's enough. You know, Pete's fine. Long time since anybody called me sir, mate. That's for sure. But mate, I really always excited to talk to our international brethren, all brothers in arms, or sisters in arms, no matter where we serve. I was fortunate enough to serve with the US military in Tarankout in Afghanistan when I was over there. So, mate, it's great to speak to a US Navy veteran and to tell your story, particularly about how you started Get Geofencing and what that is. So, mate, I always like to start this podcast very casually. Where did you grow up? And what was it like?
I grew up in a little town outside of Cincinnati, Ohio called Goshen. It was a small town, and yeah, it was just everything you think it was, the kind of life, the Leave It to Beaver lifestyle.
Yeah,
Very
mate.
small town, Ohio.
Mate, the only thing I really know about Ohio is the Bengals and
Oh,
Cleveland Cavaliers, mate.
all you got to know is about the Bengals and Ohio State. You want to know about those guys too.
Well,
Absolutely. I'm a huge Bengals fan.
mate, I'm scratching at my college knowledge here, but Ohio State Buckeyes, is it?
There you go, man. Good job, Pete. Look at you, man.
Mate,
Internationally aware. I like
mate,
it.
I'm a basketball nut. As for the Spurs hats everywhere and Kobe in the background, but
Big fan.
I think maybe Jimmy Jackson played for Dallas, may have gone to Ohio State many years ago. Basketball, but I don't know anything about football, mate, or gridiron. Uh, a quick war story for US for me, mate. After I did my Afghan trip, my wife had to go to Puerto Rico for work, so I went over as her handbag, and we stopped at Atlanta. She went to Puerto Rico for Atlanta, and then I drove from Atlanta to Chicago. No cities, no freeways. So I went all the way up Georgia, across Tennessee, back across Kentucky, up through Indiana into Illinois. Uh,
Beautiful drive.
Small towns everywhere, mate. It was such an amazing experience to meet, I guess, not real America. It's all real, but just to meet small town America and to really meet a lot of the little towns that would give up their kids, into the military. But mate, enough of me, more of you. Why did you join the military from small town Ohio?
Um, I joined the military basically off of a lark, man. I, I'm not really quite sure what got into my head. I was going to actually, my father was in the Marines. He was in the Korean
Yep.
War. My uncle JC, he was a frogman back in Vietnam. He was
Yep.
Navy. And my two uncles, my uncle Paul, my uncle Ray, were both Army as well.
Oh, mate.
And
Well, it's
so,
almost part of the
yeah,
family tradition.
absolutely, absolutely. And so I was just kind of spinning my wheels a little bit. I was going to a small college, and I was just like, I don't really, I kind of want more adventure in my life, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. And so that's how I kind of ended up. And a funny story, I still remember my recruiter's name. His name was Chuck McNutt,
Chuck
and
McNutt.
Chuck McNutt, and he took me down to we were in Printers Alley in Nashville, Tennessee, and we were sitting there. He was celebrating me going in and everything like that, and he was all happy. And so then he left me at the bar with his card, with his credit card, because he met a
Mm.
girl, and so he walked away and was talking with her. And when he got back, about an hour or two later, he got back, and I had, subsequently bought several people at the bar some drinks and that his credit card. And
Is
when he
it when
got
you
to
ring the
know,
bell?
yeah, when
Ring
he
the
got
bell
to
and
know, he
shout the
turned
bar?
he turned white as a sheet, man.
Oh, well,
I'll
if
never
you're gonna
forget that, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, the fact that your family was Army and Marine, is that why you joined the Navy?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I wanted to travel. I wanted to see the world. And that was a huge thing to me. I just got done reading a lot of James Clavell, Shogun and King Rat and all that. And
Mhm.
I really wanted to get out and I wanted to see, experience, everything internationally is what I wanted to
Yeah.
do.
So, where do you do your initial training when you get in? You go in, like as a seaman, you just turn up, you do learn how to march and drill and shoot and all that kind of stuff. Where do you do that?
Well, I went down to boot camp in Orlando, Florida, and I don't believe it's there anymore. I think everybody goes through Great Lakes now, but we were the only boot camp that had guys and girls that were going to boot camp.
Hmm.
And so I went through my P days there, and boot camp was pretty wild. Chief Hendricks, man, I'll never forget that guy. He never raised his voice once, but he could just emanate anger out of his eyes, man. I can't really explain it. He just had this look down that would just make you, freeze in your tracks and start sweating. I mean, he just had it down.
That
And
angry dad look.
yeah, that angry dad look. And he had a big handlebar mustache and everything like that. He had red hair. And he was, I thought he hated me, man. I really did. But they got I don't know what happened. He pulled me to the side and he asked me if I'd be interested in doing, working with naval intelligence. And
Mm.
he said it was a really good opportunity for me. And so I don't know what they did. Then they started doing the security background for a top secret clearance. And well, I guess while I was in boot camp, they went and they visited my second grade teacher. They went and visited all my family. They went and visited,
All
my
right.
friends. And this is small town Ohio, man. And everybody thought I had done something or something like that. And it was a crazy little scene. But then I got my top secret clearance right when I finished boot camp, and then I went to Fort Devens. I didn't get it completed, but then I went to Fort Devens intelligence training out of Fort Devens, Massachusetts, which is right outside of Worcester.
So, when you join the US Navy, do you have a career predetermined for you when you step in the door? Or is it like, hey, I'm joining the Navy and then they pick your pathway through boot camp?
Well, I think what they do, I was a little bit different. I went in, I kind of wanted to relax my way through it. I was going to be a
Mm.
yeoman, and just kind of working in an office somewhere is kind of what I had in my plan. But then when I got called over by Chief Hendricks, and then I had to interview a bunch of times with different intelligence guys, and then that's when they kind of brought me over, and that's when I went to Fort Devens. I didn't have intelligence in mind when I first joined the Navy at
Yeah.
all whatsoever.
I love what you just said there, mate. Is that, oh, yeah, I'm going to join the military with a plan. Yeah, like whatever. The military's got its own plan. It'll take you on its own pathway. And, you never know when those forks in the road, which are, the sliding doors moments that could take you anywhere in the world at any time. So
Man
after you
makes
finish,
plans and God laughs, man.
uh,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So you go and do your military train, sorry, your intelligence training up in Massachusetts. Do you then get posted to a ship?
Yeah, what happened was I was up there for about a year or so, a little bit over a year, year and a half, I think. Going through everything. And then I got stationed in Misawa, Japan,
Yeah,
which is
lovely.
up north on Hokkaido. And I was called what they call direct support. And essentially, what happens is whenever a ship needs our services or whatnot, they fly us to the ship, and then we go on the ship. We do our work. We're not part of the
Ah,
ship's company or anything like that.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
why they
yeah.
called us spooks, basically, because nobody really knew what we did, and we looked a lot different too. We traveled in civilian clothes. We had long hair, mustaches, stuff like that. So yeah.
So it's almost like well, again, stretching my army terms here. You're like a brigade or a divisional asset. You sit up high and you're just allocated out to the unit as they need it for whatever purpose.
Absolutely, up is what they called it. And they would call us, and we would go. And basically lived out of a bag for about 4 years, out of a sea bag.
Well, it's one thing for the army, for the navy to be, unshaven or bearded at the best of times, mate. You get to grow your hair long as well.
Yeah, we did. We got to travel in civilian clothes and go through. We got to fly civilian. It was funny because we would be walking with our sea bags, and we would always we'd always get ruckus when you go through customs and stuff like that, through Singapore and Hong Kong and all that. So we learned a little trick was to take your really dirty, disgusting clothes and put them on the top of the sea bag, so that when they opened it up, they would look in there. And then they wouldn't really want to go in your sea bag. This is back in a different day of traveling, man. This is before. all that 9/11 stuff and all that.
Yeah,
So
and this is before the explosive swipes on the bags, where you just come straight from the range and get onto a plane, and away you go. Um,
absolutely, man, absolutely.
so tell us about life as a spook in the Navy. In and out, you're doing jobs here and there. Obviously, don't share anything that's not for shareable, but tell us what life's like.
It's a lot of travel, man. A lot of travel. Sleeping in bunks on ships, sleeping in hotels, sleeping in bunkers, just all over the place. And really got to see a lot of the world. Really got to see a lot of the Persian Gulf, Abu Dhabi, Jebel Ali, Dubai, Bahrain, Kuwait, Iraq, all through there. Singapore, Hong Kong, all of Japan, Korea. So we were kind of all over the place, man. And it's a lot of travel, and I'm sure if you travel a lot, it kind of takes it out of you. And
And
yeah, so
young 20 odd something guy now, are you? Early 20s?
yeah, absolutely, early 20s, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh man, it doesn't sound like a bad life, to be honest, mate. I didn't even travel overseas till I was 25. So growing up in small town Australia, I was, mate, I just never got away. It wasn't until I was 25, man. And you've probably done 20 countries before you're 25.
We were all over the place, and the Navy. I hope I'm not painting this in a glamorous picture, man, because the Navy shipyards aren't exactly what you call glamorous, man. They're very industrial, very a lot of cement, a lot of steel, a lot of I don't know, just a lot of. It looks like Long Beach, California, is what it looks like,
So
all
let's
over the world.
let's talk about the operational strategic situation in the world at this time. You're posted in Japan, but what years are we talking here?
89 and 94 was when I was in the Navy.
Right, 89 and 94, we're talking Gulf War One kicking off. Where were you when that all started?
I just got to Misawa, Japan. That's when Desert Shield kicked off.
Yep.
And then that's when it went over, and then it turned to Desert Storm, and then it turned to Operation Poised Hammer.
Right. So the US and to some extent Australia have been on parallel high tempo. Well, Australia
Okay.
certainly since '99, pretty well flat out. But this is a little bit earlier for you guys. What was it like being a young fella in the Navy? When hey, we're going to war.
It was kind of spooky. Actually, they wouldn't tell me where I was going when I left. I thought I was going to Australia. And I had
Oh,
actually
really?
had yeah, I just got the Australian version of Playboy or something like that. And I was looking at all these Australian girls, man, and I was all excited. And then I was kind of noticing the ship wasn't taking the turns it was supposed to. And then I was on the USS Long Beach at that time. And yeah, and then we went through the Straits of Hormuz. And we got locked on by Silkworm missile sites, and that was kind of terrifying. Yeah, but we didn't know really what was going on until we got there. I mean, everything's real
Yeah.
compartmentalized, and then all of a sudden you kind of show up, and you're like, oh man, now I know where we're at.
So now we're in Iraq now. As a Navy spook, you're um, a joint asset as well, and
Yes, absolutely.
ability to be located with Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine as they choose you. Um,
Yes,
what can you share? Or what would you like to share about that experience? In where are we? Desert Storm now.
yeah. Desert Shield, Desert Storm, Poised Hammer.
Mm.
Um, it's hot, man. It's hot. I'm
The
sure you
desert's
know.
hot. Yeah.
It's like a hair dryer blowing in your face all the time. The No offense, but man, the cabs over there are awful. They've got these they've got these cab drivers. I don't know, man. I had to literally leave my head out half the time that we were in some of the cabs. They had gold souks over there, which is pretty wild. It's like these places that they sell real gold, and
Yeah.
you can bend it with your fingers, and it's pretty wild. I mean, there's so much of it, it looks fake, but it's real.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of poverty, man, a lot of poverty. And another shocking fact is that the Persian Gulf is really shallow. I mean, it's super shallow.
Mm.
You can go out in the middle of it and stand up. And we got there when they had knocked the oil caps off and they lit the oil on fire. So you had these huge walls of flame right in the middle of the water, which is pretty
Yeah.
crazy
Wow.
to look at. Yeah, it kind of looked like hell on earth, man. It really did for a long time.
So
And
you at this time when you were doing your role in country in Iraq, were you attached to Marines or Army or divisional headquarters?
It flipped back and forth a lot. We worked a lot with Army, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. Special Forces in the Army. We worked a lot with the Navy. We worked a lot, well, Marines is a division of the Navy, so they kind
Mm,
of count too. Uh,
they count.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we just basically it's very compartmentalized. We did a lot of um, signal intercept was the big thing that we did. Intercepting different communications and that from platforms, identifying the platforms, identifying the personnel, what they were, who they were, and what they were doing by the different frequencies and whatnot that they used.
Yep.
So yeah,
Because this moment here is actually the pathway or the sliding doors into your business at the moment. But basically, this kind of signals intelligence. If the warfighters needed to know who the bad guys were, what they were doing, who they were talking to, what they were up to, that was your
yep.
job to capture and then disseminate that information so they could do with it as they will.
Absolutely, yeah. We just see the different frequencies, see the different platforms, things like that. Identify where they were at through line of bearings and things like that. Yeah. So pretty much, yeah, they're over there.
This is it's funny, like my personal experience of warfare is rather small theater. The area in Afghanistan that we were, like, I was a logistics officer, basically, a pogue posted on barracks, most of the time inside the fence. But the actual size of the force, we had, maybe a battalion in our area. There were special forces, there's helicopter assets and logistics assets. Um, the war in Iraq at that time was, big, and by that I mean, lots of assets, lots of, brigades everywhere. And
It
what was
was
the
huge.
huge, and the US war machine is unbelievable, particularly like at that kind of scale.
Man, we went over with the Lincoln Battle Group, and I was on the Long Beach with the CGN-9, and basically we were playing what they call picket, where the Long Beach was putting off emitters like it was a carrier, and then the Lincoln
Mm,
was putting off emitters like it was a destroyer, just to confuse the enemy. So
leveling up.
we were way up front, and I got the opportunity to look off the fantail and look back and just see that huge group. I mean, there must have been, without exaggerating, 20 to 30, maybe 40 huge ships, man. I
Wow.
mean, all just steaming to go whoop some ass is basically what they were
It,
going to do.
it is daunting. My only light exposure of it would have been, I managed to get down to Kandahar airfield for a little while, and just to see, the size of what the US Air Force was doing there. Like F-16s, F-18s, Ospreys, up and down. Every minute something taken off to do something. It is somewhat daunting, exhilarating, exciting, just to be a tiny cog in that massive machine.
Yeah, and one of the weird things is at night, it is so black. I mean, you can't see your hand in front of your face.
Mm.
I don't know. Maybe there wasn't no starlight or anything like that, but I just really remember the nights being super black where you can't really tell anything, where water is, where land is, where anything is at. It's kind of strange, man. Yeah, and then all of a sudden you see, orange fires and stuff like that. And you see missiles fly off and whatnot. So yeah.
So mate, you're still a young fella at this stage. You're in your mid-20s. When is it the time for you to sort of say, look, Navy's great, but there could be something else out there for me? Or what was your impetus or reason
Well,
for making the change?
yeah, I did the 5 years, and they offered me a lot of money at that time. I thought it was a lot of money. So I think, if I remember correctly, I think it was like 100K because I had the top secret clearance,
Yeah,
and those are expensive. I think the U.S. government spent like $1 million for somebody to get a top
yeah.
secret clearance. And at that time, $100,000, I was like, wow. And then
Mate,
they
it's a
sent
lot
me
of
the
coin.
payment. It is, man. I was like, whoa. And I was thinking about it. And then I think Afghanistan started popping off there. There was kind of whispers and rumors of Afghanistan. And I'm like, no, man, I'm not going to Afghanistan. I tip my hat to you, man. I did not want to go there at all. And then another thing that got me was the man, I love the guys that I worked with and my chiefs and all that, man. But when you get older and you're doing what we were doing, it beats you up, man. It beats you up bad, physically, mentally, spiritually, psychologically. All of them were on their third divorce, drinking like nobody's business, and it's just I looked and I saw getting older, and I was like, man, I was already having some psychological
Yep.
problems, or things like that. Yeah, it was just and I knew I had to do something different. I didn't want to wind up, all broken down and everything like that, not be able to enjoy the rest of my life, basically.
Man, I got to say, for anyone who does significant time, and I did 12 years, which for me doesn't seem like a long time
Just
relative to
it's like a
everybody
blink
else.
in the eye, don't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like, but everybody's individual circumstances. But I just hats off to the people that actually commit themselves and serve for that period of time, because it does come with like you said, personal, physical, mental, spiritual sacrifice. And the military will do what the military does. And then once you're
yes,
gone, it just keeps rolling.
it does, man. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a huge machine, man, and it's just no. And another thing that kind of got me too is just the information that was being put over wasn't in line with what I saw, and that was another thing I kind of had a problem with too. But we weren't over there. There was no weapons of mass destruction. We were
Yeah.
there for the oil, and that's plain and simple. And that was a little bit of a disillusionment on my part as well. We weren't there to free Kuwait, like we were like freedom fighters or whatever. That wasn't it. You know what I mean? And it just kind of all turned to, well, I mean, you had what? Dick Cheney was the vice president at that time. He was a CEO of Halliburton, and everything you get over there was Halliburton. The mail we got, the food we ate,
Hmm.
everything we had was I forget the name of the company, but it was a Halliburton owned company, and so it kind of came into focus for me from a I don't know if you want to call it a philosophical perspective or not, but I was just like, man,
Well,
I'm putting my life on the line for somebody to make more money, and it just didn't seem right.
yeah, and this is but as soldier, sailor, and airman, we don't necessarily see that at the point of getting in. It's all part of the excitement and the service and being
Yeah,
part of something big. And then on reflection, a little bit later, it's like you know,
yeah.
there's
Hindsight's always 2020, man. When you look in the rear
hindsight's
view,
always
you're like,
2020.
yeah,
Mate,
so.
so I want to get geofencing.com, which is your company, but
Thank you.
you're now getting out in mid 90s, is that right? You got out?
Yeah, get out in mid 90s. Yeah,
So mate,
absolutely.
we're talking 30 years ago now.
Yeah, I know,
When
man.
when did get geofencing start, and bridge that gap between the military and the company starting?
Well, that's a bunch of time, man. I got out and then I went to I out processed at New Orleans, Louisiana, for 2 weeks, and oh, that was a mess, man. Because
Got to be a bit of fun, yeah.
yeah, it was a bunch of fun, but it was messy too because I nobody could touch me. You know what I mean? Because I'm getting out for one, and two, I had a lot more, stuff on my chest or whatnot than most of the people that were there at the out processing thing. So,
Yeah.
did the 2 weeks there, went home for about a week, and then the week afterward, I started Miami of Ohio University, do my pre-med undergrad over there. So it was that's why I love shows like you, man, because I wish that I would have had this resource right when I got out. Because just talking about, I listened to your podcast before about the 5 Ps with purpose and process and whatnot. And I wish I would have had those resources at that time, right when I got out, to really be able to help me out, to help guide me through some of those things. Because like all of a sudden you go from like living like that to, a college campus, Miami of
Mm.
Ohio, which is a really nice college campus, man. And not a great time. I felt like a savage amongst a lot of
Yeah.
children there. And I really felt like I stuck out. And I had a motorcycle, and it was just different, man. It was just a different ball game all the way
Yeah,
around.
like
I didn't know how to
particularly
act.
like you would have been like one of the kids, like, sorry, I would have been like one of those other kids, because I didn't join the army till I was 29. So I
Hmm.
had a quite a different experience. But when I would have been one of those 25-year-old naive small town, never really experienced the world kids. And here we are, we've got military veterans that have been served, gone to war, years younger than me, even years younger than you were at the time, and it is hard to relate, and sometimes it's the little things that pick you up, like In the supermarket, why do we need 72 different kinds of breakfast cereal? Little there's those little things when you
Well,
get
that's
back into
true.
civilian world, you're like, why is this important?
I know that it was the biggest difference I remember kind of shocking me was an ATM machine. I couldn't believe when I got back from Japan and that you could get a card and go to this little machine and stick it in there and then pull out money. That they didn't have those when I left, and I was like, really? I don't got to go to the bank and show a check and then get my money and stuff like that. It was just strange. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Whoever came up with that one knew what they were doing.
Come on, mate. You're showing your age now, mate.
Yeah, I know it, man. I know it. I don't mean to. But I did my pre-med undergrad work at Miami of Ohio, and I was going to go to medical school, and then I I said I can't do many more schools, so I just I got to get out of here. I don't know why that's kind of been a thing throughout my entire life. So I got my degree in psychology, and then I grabbed my mom. My mom got a new car, so I grabbed her '85 T-Bird, and I drove out to Los Angeles, and I kind of started there.
That's got to be
Um,
beautiful drive from Ohio to LA across the country.
it was a bunch of fun, man. It
Yeah,
was beautiful. Yeah. I was thinking I was going to be a radio DJ, so I was recording all my thoughts and everything into this little tape recorder thing I had bought, and
yeah.
I was going to write a book and all kinds of wild stuff, man. It was a fun trip. It was a feeling of freedom.
We all like with
Driving across.
Nirvana
Mhm.
blasting away across the desert.
Absolutely, man. You know the story right there.
Bit
Yes.
of, bit of Alice in Chains, that was the time. Mate, I'm still trapped in that music cycle.
I'm there with you, Pete. Man, everything from Ozzy Osbourne to Judas Priest,
Oh, mate,
big AC/DC fan. Good kudos to you guys down there in
oh
Australia.
well, and
Woo!
our ROP Aussie mate for a couple of weeks ago.
Absolutely, man. That was a shame.
Right.
Um, yeah, got out to LA. Got a little flea bag apartment right on Hollywood Boulevard.
Nice.
First, I remember the first day I walked out into LA, I was like, because I had dreamed about Los Angeles, man. I had been like, wow, that's LA. Even when I was a little kid, we did things called encyclopedias where we go looking at these encyclopedias, and I would like try to memorize the maps of the streets in LA for some reason when I was a little kid. Another weird thing that kind of came into fruition was we had to do a report. I remember back when I was a little kid, we had to do a report, and I got the country Iraq to do a report on. So we
How's
had
that,
to do
eh?
their population, their main exports and stuff like that. So that was just kind of a strange coinkydink. But I got to LA, and I remember the first day I walk out, I see where I was sitting there drinking a cup of coffee, and I seen a taxi cab T-bone a limousine. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
You know?
Here we go. Welcome.
Yeah. I know it, man. I know it. It was crazy. LA was was really crazy. LA was a bunch of fun, man. But anything you want is there all the time. So you got to be a little bit careful.
So, what kind of work did you get into over there?
To work at UNICEF, United Nations Children's Fund, trying to help them out with different things. And then I was a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley in Beverly Hills, for a little bit. I didn't have any friends or family money, and one of the things I did was Boeing was right down the street, and I went in there and I was talking with the girl at the front desk, and then she had to leave for a little bit. So I kind of acquired the employee handbook there, the employee roster book, and then I started calling them up saying, "Hey, it's time to reevaluate 401ks and stuff like that." So I did really well as a financial advisor for a little bit. And then I started my first company was Guardian Cam.
Hmm.
And basically, what we did was we put web-based cameras inside of daycare centers so parents could tap in on the internet and see their children during the day. That ended up getting bought by Sandlab Ventures for 1.1. And then I had a little bit of money, so I went and lived in Paris and Amsterdam for a little bit.
Nice.
That was a bunch of fun. Oh,
Man, that's the thing. Yeah, I won't share too many Amsterdam worries, but Amsterdam, when I was growing a kid, was the only place in the world you could smoke dope legally.
oh,
So,
no
as for
kidding,
someone
huh?
who grew up in country, as for someone who grew up in country town Australia, that was just like, man, I want to go there one day.
Everything you want is in Amsterdam, from that train station to Bulldog Cafe to the right-hand side. That was a bunch of fun. Anyway, the money didn't last as long as I thought it would, so I had to come back and started another company. It was called Medicrew, and it was a medical billing software company. And we knocked it out of the park for a little bit. Basically, what we did was for marketing, we took these little classified ads and we put them out in these like cheap little circulars called Wooden Nickel and the Penny Saver and stuff like that. And we didn't know if it would work or not, Pete. I
Mm.
mean, I was down to my last dime, and we had this. Me and this other gentleman had this little office in Newport Beach, and we had all these phones like stacked on these desks with just me and him sitting there. We took out the ads, so we're sitting there waiting. And all of a sudden, the first phone bring rings, and then so we got
We're on.
excited.
We're on.
Man, exactly. So we were just jumped over, and then we figured out how to sell them. You know, we would sell them 300 bucks a pop, and then we got the phones ringing so much that we had to start hiring people. And that's
Mm.
what brought me back. It's funny because I was listening to your podcast about the five Ps, and I didn't have any process in I didn't have any process, just simple. And we were just bringing people in that we knew, things like that, to come work there. And it's hard to teach somebody how to do something. And I was thinking like a private as opposed to thinking like a general.
Yeah.
And so, um, yeah, that business, man, we started. That's the first time I made $1 million in a year, and we did really well. But then I had an association with this gentleman I shouldn't have had an association with. He was an organized crime figure. And then the FBI kind of came in and put us all down on the ground with guns drawn and everything like that. And they froze my accounts. That was December 14th, 1999, I think. I still remember that because I had this beautiful apartment in Newport Beach and I had zero money. They froze all my accounts. And so I was a bit angry. And that's when things got a little bit dark for a while.
Did you lose
Uh,
that money?
they froze it and they kept it. Yeah. Now I never had to go to trial or anything like that. I don't think we did anything wrong, but they did freeze the accounts. It's about a $500,000 in there when they froze it, and they kept it.
They
You
kept
know,
it.
so
So,
they
so
kept
I
it.
just want to unpack this a little bit in
You
terms
can't
of
fight the
the.
government, man.
Well, I just want to talk about little the ebb and the flows here. So, started a
Yes.
company, sold it for $1 million, blew that, or not blew it, lived it, I should say. Um,
Eh,
made
I'll do it
another
again.
million, lost that, literally lost that this time. No, the government took it off you.
Yeah.
Where are you, where is this? One thing I love is that, entrepreneurial or enterprise spirit. Always come up with the ideas. These are just hurdles. These are just speed bumps. We just keep rolling in this life. Is this now your life and who you are? This business creator.
Yes and no. Right now, I love what I do, man. Get
Mm.
geofencing. I love it. It's a very effective marketing channel. And it makes it evens the playing field between the big guys and the little guys.
Yeah.
And we've been doing this for 7 years. So I think my business creation I love what I'm doing now.
Mm.
I've got it built up as much as I'm as large as I can go being a single man operation. I mean, I do farm stuff out, but if my next phase is to grow this bigger, I think, and go more into commercial production, television
Well, mate,
production.
let's just switch straight into get geofencing. What is it?
Oh, get geofencing. Essentially what we do is we put a digital parameter around a physical location, and then we're able to capture people's cell phone information once they go to that location. It's the same thing as when you call an Uber. That's how an Uber knows where you're at.
Mm.
We're on a $1.9 billion background called Simplify. It's owned by Blackstone, BlackRock, something like that.
Yep.
And so once we have that information, then we can start distributing that targeted audience ads across any website or app that they visit. We distribute ads programmatically. And what I mean by that is whenever you bring up a website or an app, there's about a 100 millisecond delay. In that 100 millisecond delay, we have algorithms that bid on the available advertising inventory of that website or app. So that's how we're able to get the ads in front of that targeted audience. And then when they take their cell phones home, then they dock it on their Wi-Fi network. Now we can distribute ads to any device that's connected to that Wi-Fi network as well.
And is this something that you don't need to opt into, but just the fact that you're
Nope.
attached to that signal
Yep.
means that you've effectively bought in?
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Whenever you opt into any kind of app, from a banking app to an Uber app or anything like that, that gives us permission to be able to target you as an audience, and it's passive information. Back in 2018, Google got in a lot of trouble because basically what they were doing was they would set these little beacons down.
Mhm.
And so whenever you would walk by a beacon, you would get this ad that would just pop up on your cell phone. The
Mm.
government decided that was an invasion of privacy, and so they banned it. That's why you don't see that anymore. Geofencing just became legal probably, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe 10 to 15 years ago in this country,
Yep.
in the United States.
It's I'm just thinking back to your work as a spook. What was the alignment, or what was the seeds of what started then into the business idea that is now? Were there any skills that directly transferred across?
It's the technology that was available to the military back in 1989 is being used right now for the civilian markets. That kind of gives you an idea of how far ahead the military is from a technological perspective. They've got stuff now that's just amazing, and essentially this is just a propagation of that. And basically, what we're able to do is identify, platforms, personnel, things like that through their communications. And this is basically the same thing that we're doing, just on a little bit of a different scale and different purpose, basically.
So, mate, just to keep it simple, I'd like you to break it down if you can and give me a practical example for a car yard, for example. So, imagine I'm a customer, and I live in Sydney, Australia. Let's just call it Erina. Okay, a little suburb called Erina. If I own a car yard in Erina, how does Get Geofencing help me?
It's a car yard. That's an auto dealer, right? That's what we
Auto
call an
dealer.
auto
Yeah, yeah,
yard.
yeah. Auto
Okay,
dealer.
gotcha. Car yard. I like car yard better, to be honest with you. Say you own Pete's car yard over there in Sydney, and your competitor is Bob's car yard over here. Now, Bob just spent all this money to do this open house where he's got this tent sale going on and all these other things. I mean, he spent tens of thousands of dollars. What you can do, Pete, is call me. And then basically, I can go ahead and put a digital parameter around Bob's car yard, and we can capture all the people that are going to that his tent sale. Now, these are all people that are looking to buy a car. So this is a very location is the strongest indicator of buying intent. Where people go are going to give you a good indication as to what they're buying. So now that you've got all this audience going over to Bob's car yard, you can capture that and then start giving them advertisements, telling them the different specials that you're having at Pete's car yard.
Can I
And
just
so,
unpack that for a little bit? When we talk about geofencing, can you get as small as like a residential or a commercial block?
yes, absolutely. As small as a doorway. Yes.
Well, hang on. I
Yeah,
didn't realize it was that specific. So I can
yeah.
literally now this is, I get a little bit excited here because this is I do have a couple of levels of, I did a podcast a couple of months ago with a mate. We talked about military ethics and how military ethics apply to business. And we called it, we came up with strip, steal, sabotage. Okay. You're allowed to strip anything you want in the public forum, but you probably shouldn't steal or sabotage another business. But this is
Yeah.
just a digital way of being able to strip open source information, but just a very clever way to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is out in the airwaves. It's free to anybody.
So let me just unpack this. I put a geofence around Bob's car yard, and then I can tell what customers go into Bob's car yard, and then I can send them ads from Pete's car yard down the road.
Yep. And then we're also able to tell those customers that received your ads, we can tell when they physically come on to Pete's car yard. So it
And that
offers a very
becomes your
precise
attribution
ROI.
then.
Yeah, attribution. Correct.
Ah, interesting, interesting. Okay, this works great for physical premises. What if you're a global service or something else? So there are other ways that geofencing can work for more service-based businesses.
Absolutely. Like, say there's a trade show going on that you'd like to get in front of the audience that's in attendance at that trade show. We can geofence that trade show. And then for the next 30 days after that trade show, we can start showing everybody that attended that trade show your ads. So they get more and more familiar with your brand. They know who you are.
Hang on, mate. I'm a simpleton, right? So I've just got to unpack this. So I
I
got
got you.
my I got my Apple iPhone in my hand here. In
Yep.
Australia, we have a couple of very big military conferences, one for Army called Land Forces, one for Navy called Indo-Pacific, and one for Air Force, the Avalon Air Show. So Pete, as a random person, goes to the Indo-Pacific trade show, which is the Navy one coming up later this year. As a business, I can put a geofence around the Sydney Convention Centre, and then everybody who walks in and out of that with their standard iPhone, Google phone, Samsung, whatever you use, I can then target them with ads later on from me.
Yes, not everyone. What's going to happen is you're going to get a saturation of that market. Like, say you've got 10,000 people attending that trade show, and
Yep.
say you buy like 300,000 impressions. You're going to get probably about a 30 to 40% saturation. Three out of the four, 3 or 4 out of the 10 people that walk through that door are going to start seeing ads.
Okay. Just that picking up that point on impressions. Is that how your sales model
That's
works? That you buy
that's
impressions?
how. Absolutely, absolutely. You could
Okay,
buy
got
a
it,
hundred
got it.
thousand impressions for $850, 200,000 for $1,600,
Mm.
300,000 for $2,400. Yeah.
And then it
Now,
just becomes
yeah.
then
What's
then it's just
exciting is
classic market. Yeah, then it's just
yes,
classic marketing where we need our CTA, we need impression through to click to contact through to conversion, away we go.
absolutely, absolutely.
Mm.
And what I'm seeing a lot of exciting development in is video. Video converts like I can't believe it. I mean, video is strong. It's a very powerful way for a brand to get their story across. And so
Now,
we've been
Chris,
making a lot of videos lately.
one thing I'm not sure of, I know this is like legal and common practice in the US. Do you know? I'll have to have a look and see whether it's applicable in Australia or not. Do you know of whether there are constraints in other countries around this technology?
There are. We tried to do a campaign in South Africa for she was a rock star. Her name was X, and for some reason it didn't work in South Africa.
Mm.
We geofenced the World Economic Forum up in Davos, Switzerland. Worked like a charm. The only way to really do it is to find out if it works is to do it. We just did a campaign down in Okinawa that
Mm.
did really well. Yeah, so I mean, to be honest with you, we just got to find out if it works or not. If it doesn't work, then we give you your money back.
Well, mate, I've just done a quick Google on the side, and it's saying geofencing is widely adopted across various industries in Australia. So,
Yeah,
mate, that's just a
absolutely.
quick Google search while I'm listening to this.
Yeah, I think it's available in like 131 different countries. That's what I believe so, if memory serves correct.
Okay, what do you find kind of industries or businesses you make the biggest impact with?
Oh man, it goes across the board. We got a lot of clients that are AI solutions providers for the government. So we routinely we geofence the CIA headquarters, FBI headquarters, NSA headquarters, because what it does is allows them to get their brand in front of the decision makers of these different agencies. So that's one way that we use it.
Just
Um,
something in my head's just not clicking there when you can like geofence the CEI headquarters. Like there's just something not computing right in that statement with me.
I know it, huh? That's pretty crazy. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people go in and out of there with cell phones. I mean, they do.
Yeah.
So,
Well, all you got to do is geofence the ring around the headquarters, and then you'll see who comes in and
absolutely.
out of it.
The parking lot, absolutely. And even, I mean, even in the building, I don't know if we're picking them up in the building or not, but we do pick them up, all of them.
Oh. Well, if the
Yes.
building is segregated, the street out the front probably isn't.
Yep, absolutely. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, what it is, it's just a great tool to use as a marketing channel. And
Mm.
what it does is it uses location for marketing. People that go to these spots are usually they're there for a reason. Like if
Yeah.
you're at a car dealership, you're there to buy a car. If you're going to a dentist office, you're there to get your teeth fixed, things like that. If we have a lot of attorneys that use it, we geofence different hospitals and urgent cares and things like that for
Yeah.
personal injury. Here's a little weird story for you. This guy gave me the creeps. He represented human traffickers. That was his thing. He was in Texas, and that was his whole thing. And so we geofenced these gas stations way out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, way out in the middle of nowhere. And we can tell that those people from those gas stations were coming to his offices in Houston.
Yeah.
And it was just strange, man. And it was just strange. We filled him up. I mean, It was tough coming up with ads about, hey, have you been convicted of human trafficking? So it was just different. You
But
can see
what's
the wide array that this benefits so many different industries. I mean,
I'm just going back to, the name of this podcast, and my mate that I did the ethics one challenged me a little bit on military mindset. Is a military mindset a good thing or a bad thing? And one of the things that confuses me a little bit about, let's call it military mindset, is in warfare, we are allowed to kill, cheat, lie, deceive, do whatever it takes to get the job done. But we do it in a noblistic way, or especially when it's, well, we think it is from our perspective. It depends which side of the fence you're on. But fundamentally, this is about being clever. It's about using intelligence, and it's about using the tools that are out there to legitimately and legally create the best advantage on the playing field for you and your business.
absolutely. And what you're doing is you're not wasting ad spend. You're not like putting on a broadcast television commercial where like maybe a quarter or 1% may have an actual use for your product or services. These people are going to this location. You're aligning your your products or services with people that go to this location. It has a tremendous impact. It really does.
Can I just unpack the interaction you mentioned ad spend there between geofencing and your ad account? So let's just hypothetically, I'm doing Meta ads or Google ads or something like that. So the first thing we do is we use your service to do the geofencing, and then we just run standard Meta, whatever platform you're using, ads inside the geofence. Is that correct? Or we
No,
capture
what
the
we
data first? How does that interaction work there?
A smart play for if you're going to advertise on Facebook, a smart play is to put a Facebook retargeting pixel on your website
Yep.
and then have geofencing drive the traffic to that website because geofencing can do it a lot more cost effectively with a lot more of an interested crowd than Facebook can.
Yep.
And now once they drive that traffic to your website, then your Facebook retargeting pixel will pick up that traffic and then start displaying ads to those people on Facebook.
Yeah. Without
That-
giving
that- that's the point I really want to bring up real quick, Pete, is that we occupy 94% of the internet.
Yep.
And everything from foxnews.com to CNN.com to any kind of website or app that you can think of except social media. The only
Mm,
thing that we don't show ads on is like Facebook, Instagram, and things like that. And the reasoning for that is because they're called walled gardens. And basically, if you want to buy an ad on Facebook, you got to go to Facebook to do it.
mm.
Using
So
that
just
as
to
an example.
so just to confirm that your methodology is outside of MetaSuite.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So they don't work together.
No, not at all. Not even a little bit. Yeah, we're
Got it. What
completely
what
different from
about Google?
Facebook. Google is just what we call an SSP. They're one of our SSPs that we work with. Google
Yep.
has about 50% in their network. They have about 50% of the websites and apps in their network. We work
Yep.
with 131 SSPs, things like
Got it.
Google. Yeah.
So how are my ads displayed? So let's just say, let's go back to the military conference.
Okay.
I do geofencing around that conference, and then I want to share veteran business community ads to that audience. How are those ads displayed to that audience?
When that audience, if they're on their cell phone while they're at the conference and they go to say Fox News or they go check ball scores or something like that, say ESPN.com or something like that, that's where the ads will appear. Now, when they go home and they dock their Wi or their phone on their Wi-Fi network, now their ads are going to be distributed to any device that's on that Wi-Fi network on any website, ESPN, Fox, CBS, any website you can think of.
Got it. So banner ads.
Yeah, banner ads. We do video too. So I mean, if
Got
you
it.
want
Got
to
it.
do
Got it.
video, video is strong, man. Video is strong. I can't believe
Okay.
some of the response rates we're getting with video. It's through the
So now
roof.
that makes sense to me now. So basically, it's capturing and putting it to a banner ad, and now, but the ultimate thing is we're going to be able to attribute, and this is one of the classic things about marketing. If we can identify where that lead came from,
Mhm.
that helps us to understand the
Oh,
value out of our spend. But
well, you can set it
yeah,
up in Google Tag Manager and it'll tell you exactly it came
yeah,
from. Yeah, 100,
interesting,
100%. Yeah.
mate. Just what is it? What
Not
is it?
only that, we have a customer dashboard too that our clients log into.
Yep.
They can check out how their campaign's doing 24/7. And then on every Friday, we send optimization and analysis reporting, which is a lot more granular. It's going to show like
Mm.
the location that you have, how many impressions were distributed there, how many clicks were on the ads there. And if they came to your place of business, we could show that as well. And then to show your click-through rate too, your CTR. So it's
So I'm a
very
big
granular.
man. I'm a passionate believer, of the effective use of CRM and other platforms. And I'm a HubSpot freak. Is there any way we can
Yeah,
integrate
me
this?
too.
Yeah, can we integrate this software into HubSpot so we can get attribution all the way through the sales process?
Oh, absolutely. What you want to do is on your landing page, like say you want to collect the person's information or anything like that, then you just set up your landing page to go ahead and do a webhook into your HubSpot. People do it
Easy.
every day. It's super
Yeah,
easy. Yeah, but
super easy.
the thing is that you got to get the people to respond or act. They'll click on the ad and they'll go over to your website. Now you got
Yeah,
to have a hook there or something like that, or something valuable for that person to exchange for their
yeah.
information. Now, once you
And
get
that's a
that, then
whole separate thing.
conversion is a whole separate science, man. There's a lot
Yeah,
to conversion.
yeah.
I know a lot about it, but there's people a lot stronger in it than I am.
Yeah, mate, I'm the same. I understand the concepts of all of this work, but there's specific experts in all of these areas, and your
Absolutely.
expertise is capturing, attributing, and putting the ad in front of the person.
Yeah.
Once that ad hits the person, you've got to have an enticing enough offer or a CDA that matters to actually get them to click through. Once they've clicked through, how are you going to actually capture their details to give them something or give them that offer? Then you've got to get them to the point of conversion to buy. So we've got to
Absolutely.
understand this is a process, but this is lead
Absolutely.
capture 101.
We're the guys that we take the horses to the water, is what we do.
Yeah.
We get all the horses, bring them to the water. You
Mate,
know,
so tell us how your pricing model works.
just off impressions.
Yep.
$8 a CPM for targeted display, $16 a CPM for video.
Excellent.
And then
Mate,
if you
this
want to go on CTV, is CTV big in Australia? Like
no, what's CTV, sorry?
a connected television over the internet?
Oh, absolutely. Well, we've got yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. So most of our television is digital. So
yeah.
we watch regular channels, through the digital telly. Then we've got, Netflix and Paramount and Stan and all of the other platforms,
Okay,
that come
gotcha,
through
man.
it as
So
well.
yeah, and what we can do also is that we can run those commercials for you on television as well.
Mm,
So
fascinating.
you can go to your car lot, Bob's car lot that day, come home and you can see a commercial for Pete's car yard. You know,
On my TV at night.
on the TV at night.
And it's like, and,
Absolutely.
and it's always like, oh my gosh, my iPhone's listening to me. It knows that I went to Bob's car lot
It
today.
is
How does it know that I'm
exactly
here?
like it is exactly like that, man. All of a sudden I start getting these ads. I don't know where they came from. That's the
So
truth, man.
just on that note, is your iPhone listening to you and sending you the ads, or is it clever things like geofencing, or is it a multitude of things that are spitting these things in front of you?
Well, I think the age of privacy is completely over, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. I mean, just by the information that they can gather, I mean, you've got this huge building in the middle of Manhattan with no windows or anything in it,
Mm.
and that's where a lot of the data is stored for on American citizens. You know, everything from location data to, what their browser history is. I mean, think about it. All this data is
Yeah.
available, so. It's the age of privacy and the age of innocence is over. If you use
Yeah.
any type of technology whatsoever, if you're going to be doing something you're not supposed to be doing, don't bring your cell phone with you. That's for sure.
Or don't do it on your cell phone.
Or don't do it on yourself.
Well, mate, this is fascinating. I've really loved the chat. One of the best things for me about doing this podcast, like I've got a few successful businesses, and we're doing all right. But one of the best things that I love about doing this is I get to learn, and I get to learn new things. And this is a direct and specific application. Now, like you were doing this stuff, slightly different. 30 years ago, in the deserts in Iraq, and geofencing and finding and profiling. And here we are 30 years later with a very simple way to get your brand in front of the people now that, that need it so you can engage them.
Absolutely. Very targeted audience. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mate,
And
just before we, after you.
Oh, I was just going to say, man, I wish I really loved your podcast that you had right there, Pete. And I wish I had those resources. And if there's anybody getting out of the Australian Armed Forces or the U.S. Armed Forces, some of the advice that I would offer them is the first thing you've got to do is you've got to get your foundation right. Because when you get out, especially if you were in, like say a war zone or something like that,
Mm.
you got to get the first thing you need to work on is your foundation. Physically, spiritually, mentally, psychologically, things like that. And some of the things that I do that I practice now that I've noticed a lot of improvements in some of the symptoms that I was having from PTSD or whatnot is like I do yoga every day,
Yeah.
meditate for 30 minutes a day. I do weight training, taking up boxing, always listening to audible books, reading and stuff like that. And if there's any way I could get through to somebody that's just getting out of service and have them understand how important it is to build that foundation, then we wouldn't have these 22 suicides we have every day within
Yeah.
the US. You know what I mean?
Mate, we are exactly the same in Australia in terms of we have, a terrible self-harm rate over here. And I think one of a gentleman that I know quite well, a three-star general, he used to always say PTSD stands for post-team separation disorder. When you're actually with your team and you're working in the job, sometimes the things that affect you later actually might be okay, manageable, sometimes even dark humor to laugh about it. But it's when you get out and you're by yourself, and that these things really come home to roost. And that's what ultimately why we named very specifically the veteran business community, because uh,
Beautiful.
yeah, when for me, the reason that we created this organization is, well, number one, in Australia, we don't have neither the specific veteran support consciousness that you do in the US, nor would we necessarily want to be so overt like you guys are. It's a different personality between the two nations, but you guys are well ahead on specifically the entrepreneur procurement veteran support frameworks. But for us, one of the most fun things that I love about doing this job is just the people and the community. And mate, if we met in a random bar in a random place and you were like, hey, I used to be in the US Navy. I was like, hey, I used to be in the Australian Army. We'd probably sit down together and have a couple of beers and just have a good chat. And I think from a business perspective, this is really powerful to have shared experiences and going into business with people with that shared experience. Um, to be crass, I don't think a military person would fuck you over in business. Well, I hope they wouldn't. I
Yeah,
can't say they wouldn't, but
yeah, I agree with you so much. Whenever somebody
yeah,
tells me they're a fellow veteran, I hold them up to a higher standard. They
yeah,
automatically have my trust, they have my like, they have my
yeah.
support. It's like a brotherhood. It really is.
Yeah. And I know it does happen, and it's not a blanket statement where nobody does the wrong thing by each other, but the chances of it happening, I reckon, are far less reduced. And the way that we come into the business relationships with that shared experience is a powerful foundation to do good business with each other. And that's essentially what we're looking to do here within the veteran business community is number one, promote. So the number one thing is from a positioning perspective, the people behind the business are good people to do business with because of
True. Very
character,
true.
integrity, and experiences and commitment, drive, passion, service, all of these, lovely cliches that we throw out there. But mate, just before we wrap up, you're in Mexico. Tell us about, how long you've been in Mexico, why you're there.
Mhm. We were living in Los Angeles. I lived in Los Angeles for about 35 years, actually. And when the pandemic broke out, Los Angeles got dark. I mean, it got
Yeah.
really crazy. I lived on 6th Street, which was right in downtown LA, right next to 5th Street, which is called Skid Row. And we looked down, and the whole place just filled up with tents and people living in them and things like
Mm.
that. And it was just getting crazy. There was broken needles, people screaming, the smell of it just something happened in LA that during the pandemic that it just wasn't LA. It wasn't the LA that I loved, man. I loved LA.
Mm.
Loved going down Sunset Strip on our motorcycles, stopping at the Roxy, the Whiskey, Saddle Ranch, all these places. Seen the greatest bands on the face of the planet play there. Met Lemmy from Motorhead at
Yeah.
the Rainbow. That guy was my legend, man. I was like, oh, so LA it was beautiful at the time, but then I saw this transition happen and the management, I'm not going to get political here, but when the Pacific Palisades fires broke out, they didn't have
Oh
water in the
gosh.
water hydrants. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, somebody should be getting fired for that. But LA just took such a turn for us, getting back to the original point. So we decided to go down. First, we went to Rosarito, which is a little south of Tijuana.
Mm.
Rosarito is like the wild, wild west. It is straight out of a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of wild stuff that happened there. And then we came down to Puerto Vallarta and checked out one of the resorts. We stayed at a resort. I really dig it down here. It's a beautiful way of life. It really is. I
Yeah.
mean, I've got a huge house. I got a full-size pool in my living room. I live right on the ocean. I got my Harley right here, so I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard to beat. And a beer is about $2. You
And
know?
mate, now, and the other thing too is this is where we can do business. And I'm very fortunate. I get to travel a lot. I just spent last week in Phuket, and all I got to do is pick up my little leather satchel, throw my laptop in it, and I'm in the office. So mate, I work
Absolutely. I love Phuket
anywhere in
too.
the world.
Phuket and Pattaya, man. I love those places. Those are cool. Bangkok too.
Mate, I went over there for my 50th with 4 mates for 10 days.
Oh,
It
oh.
was brilliant. I haven't drank 10 days in a row for a long time, but I definitely need a bit of a breather on the other side. But no, they're good lads, high school mates, mate, the worst kind of mates.
Oh, me too. I'm going on November. I'm flying into Long Beach to meet with a bunch of my Navy mates. We all got together. We're called the Catfish, and all of us are getting together and taking a carnival cruise of all things, which is hilarious. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm really looking forward to that, man.
Hey, Chris. Well, mate, lovely to have a chat with you today. Again, one of the things about being in the military community is, to be honest, don't care who people serve with, what rank they are, what service. But, veterans, no matter what country you come from, are all, bound by that, brotherhood or sisterhood or fraternity of service. And I honestly think that makes a good foundation for business. So I'm going to put all your contact details in the show notes. If you're interested in getting in touch with Chris, he runs and works a global business. If geofencing is something that is of interest to you, I'm certainly going to be learning more about it myself. But Chris, mate, you have a lovely afternoon. And when you look across the Pacific, at sunset, I'll be looking across the Pacific at sunrise, mate.
Absolutely, Pete. I love what you're doing, man. You got a great podcast. I love the message of your podcast. I fully support it. If there's anything I can do for you, let me know, man. And I really appreciate the opportunity of being on your show and showcasing Get Geofencing, and then also talking about being a veteran and whatnot as well, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, the pleasure, mate. It's appreciated. It's my honor and pleasure. Right, so let's call it a wrap there. Again, you can get in touch with Chris. Have a look at the show notes. If you're on YouTube, throw some comments down and say good day. My name's Pete Liston. I'm going to give it a wrap there. So my biggest takeaway today is I didn't really understand exactly the specifics of what geofencing could do, and particularly the opportunities to get that targeted ad right to the targeted audience, specifically using some of the competitor intelligence. I didn't realize that was possible. So again, and that's one of the great things I love about doing this pod is for me is meeting great people and learning new things about business. So I'm going to call it a wrap there. If you're serving in the military and you're interested in business one day, come and have a look at the veteran business community. We're at veteranbc.com. We don't care where you are in the world. We don't care what service you did. We don't care if you're full-time reservist. The fact that you put on a uniform and serve and you're passionate about business means this is a community or a tribe for you to get involved with. And everybody has got something to either learn, but as well share as part of their journey. So I'm going to call it there and enjoy the last of a Australian winter because springtime's coming. So Chris, thank you for your time today. Take care and have a lovely afternoon.
Take it easy, Pete. Thanks again, brother. Talk to you
Yeah,
soon.
brilliant.
Bye.
My name's Pete Liston. This is a Military Mindset for Business pod. Out.